Hey guys, my name is Ryan, and welcome to Overwatch Central. Today we're sitting down with top 500 streamer Arrge, who's basically going to talk about why Hanzo is the king of the meta right now going forward. We've spoken a lot about double snipers, but I think Arrge goes into some really good detail as to why it's more than just that, and why Hanzo is a really versatile hero to be playing in the future, especially if roll-up becomes a thing. He also talks about where Widow and Hanzo are a little bit too strong and how he would personally change them. If you have any ideas below, put them in the comments. But you can find all of Arrge's details in the description below, but let's get started. Why is this now a good time to be playing Hanzo?
Hanzo is like one of the most versatile DPS heroes in the game. You can fight long range, short range, medium range. You can support your team with Sonic Arrow. The dragon can be used to save your team, to like stop the enemy team from like charging into your team, or you can just use it to get one free kill every time you have it. And Hanzo just has like such a perfect kit for Overwatch. It makes it the best DPS hero in my opinion.
One thing that I did want to ask though is, we spoke to a few pro players like IDDQD mainly, who no doubt you've ran into in competitive at some point. Whilst he was talking about like the new McCree and Ashe, he said that Widowmaker and Hanzo are on like the next level of DPS options right now because they can instantly kill people because they're snipers. Like, what do you think then when people say that Hanzo and Widow are incredibly good now? Do you agree?
Yeah, of course, and it's like people never really used to play Widow and Hanzo together. But the thing about those two heroes is that they synergize together really well. Like if you have Hanzo and Widow against just a Widow, then you can just put the Sonic down and you don't even have to care about the Widow because your Widow is immediately gonna win that fight with the wall hack.
So they win not based on the fact that they can insta-give people, but the available information that they constantly have. Because I imagine Infrasight, Sonic Arrow, if you could synergize that together, you know everything about the attacking team.
Yeah, like usually when the Widow uses her ultimate, I will just shoot one Sonic, like I will shoot my next Sonic straight up so that it will land when the Infrasight ends. So then we get another 6 seconds of wall hack, and then when that ends, my Sonic is already off cooldown, so then I can put another 6 seconds, so that makes like 30 seconds of pure like wall hack uptime.
As somebody that has no doubt played in a lot of compositions that run in double sniper, in your opinion, what is double sniper weak to?
I wouldn't say it's weak at all against the dive, especially with the Hanzo change you get the lunge. Like for example, when I'm defending Numbani A point, I don't even stay on the high ground, I just stay on the low ground, and if they really wanna dive me, then I'm just gonna lunge away, and that means that they didn't dive the high ground so my teammates can kill them. And the same with Widow, it's like if you dive a Widow, she can just hookshot away. It's really hard to just, like you have to really commit onto one of the two snipers to kill her, or kill them. But like the weakness I would say is just goats. If you run, like goats is pretty much the only thing you can run against double sniper that has like a higher than 50% win rate.
So that raises the question, if roll-up comes in, obviously you can't play goats. What happens to double sniper? Are they just undisputedly the best composition?
Well, like you definitely would need at least two divers, because like if you dive a Hanzo with just Winston, then the Winston is just gonna lose the 1v1. So you have to have like a Diva Winston, or like I'd say Hammond Diva or Hammond Winston would be the best to, like, if you really want to make sure that you kill a sniper. But it's goats. Goats is like the only thing, because like they move really fast with the speed boost. There's a lot of shields and the matrix, so it becomes like just like throwing a dice. Can we get a shot through all the shields to kill the supports?
What about mobility? Because I feel that both Hanzo and Widowmaker have a ton of mobility, especially like we just sort of mentioned dive coming in to try and block you. You can just hop away or climb up another wall to get away. Widowmaker can grapple. Do you think that having that much mobility just makes it too strong?
No, I think it's just the fact that they one-shot people. Like you can't balance that. dying immediately is just something it's impossible to balance. Like McCree, for example, it's like you make the attack speed faster to make him better, or you could lower the attack speed to make him worse. But it's like with snipers, it's like, okay, you could reduce the damage, but then it's not a one-shot hero anymore, and then it's useless. So it's...
So how do you balance the snipers then? Because if you take away that one-shot mentality, they're not really snipers anymore.
You would just have to like reduce every other part of the kit. Like with Widow, you could just make the hook shorter to make it harder to get away from dive. Like you would really have to like plan it harder. Okay, like I'm gonna have to position here because my hook is shorter, so I can still get to this high ground and run away. And same with Hanzo, it's like you could with Hanzo you have like the kit as well, so you could like nerf Sonic or the ultimate itself. Like they did nerf Widow ultimate, kinda, in a way that like if you die, the ultimate ends.
What would you nerf about Hanzo then? Just like duration of Sonic Arrow. Some people said like reducing the amount of arrows he has in Stormbow, but I don't think that's really too much of a problem.
Stormbow is not the problem. Like if you nerf Stormbow, it's not gonna, like nothing's gonna change. Like I did like unranked to GM without Storm Arrow, and it took me 6 more games than with Storm Arrow. There's just not that much difference. Like you would have to like maybe increase the amount of ultimate charge you need to get a dragon. That would be like maybe like the best way to nerf Hanzo.
What about his leap? Like I feel like leap was when they added in Storm Arrows in terms of scatter. I don't think anybody really asked for him to have like a little mini leap ability. Like I know it's pretty strong. It's not amazing. I'm not saying that's the problem, but do you think if you saw Roll Lock coming in and it saying removed Hanzo's leap ability, you'd be like, yeah, fair enough? Or would you be like, that's not a problem?
Well, then it's the same thing as removing Widow's hook shot. Then it's just like a slow moving hero that's like just gets removed from the game if the enemy team is running any of the 10 dive characters in the game.
So how, like, let's say if Roll Lock did come in as like a big balance change, loads of heroes were buffed and nerfed to try and compensate the fact that we're going into like this new state of the game, what would you be okay seeing with Hanzo? That you'd go, fair enough, with like this, I can still make him work because I've been playing him for so long, like I'm not going to drop him, he's no longer trash, but his impact has been reduced in a very fair way. What would those changes be for you?
Well, just I don't mind if they nerf rapid fire or even remove it. Like it's not that big of a deal. Like it's more like sometimes I just lose fights because I use rapid fire instead of just using the high damage arrows. So just any kinds of nerf to rapid fire would make it like it would lower the win rate of Hanzo a bit, but it would still be very playable. It would be maybe a bit more situational, and you could definitely increase the amount of ultimate charge you need for the dragon. But like, if you would nerf the movement abilities, it would just make Hanzo not fun.
You wanted to talk about Bunker a little bit. I feel like nobody really knows what the meta would be, even without Roll Lock being a thing. Like people are moving towards Bunker comp. Like, what's your take on that?
I feel like people give it way too much credit. Like the strength of Bunker comp, from what I've seen, like especially if you think about Paris A point, if the defending team is running Bunker with Bastion, for some reason the normal strat is to go Ana, Genji and Sombra, and then just like try to get the ultimate combos and use all of the ults at the same time. But this creates the problem that like since you can't break the shield with that comp, you're just gonna spend 2 minutes, maybe even 3, trying to get those ultimates. And then when you finally do have them, if you make a tiny mistake and you fail the combinations, then you lose. Yeah, like you wasted 3 minutes. But there's like such a simple solution. Like you could go like Pharah, Mercy, Hanzo, maybe even add one more DPS like McCree or Junkrat. And then you can just spam the shield until it breaks. And then they're gonna use the Baptiste invulnerability field. Then you spam that, and then you spam the shield again, and then you spam them again, and then you just kill them. Like you just overwhelm them with damage. Like it sounds too good to be true, but I have like I'd say 80% win rate with that strat.
So you wouldn't try and dive it? You wouldn't go Winston, you wouldn't go Wrecking
No,
Ball?
you can't really dive that, since they're gonna have like the Baptiste shields stuff, and like anyone that's on the low ground will be useless because the shield won't break. So I would go with like Orisa could pull them off the high ground, and like everyone can, we could go like Mercy Ashe with Hanzo, and then the Ashe gets damage boosted, so we just like overwhelm them with damage while trying to not get melted down by the Bastion. It's kind of like, it just takes some practice to learn how to peek against the Bastion, and like to keep on the back of your head that like, okay, they have the green ball of cooldown now, so I need to be a bit more safe here so that I don't get pulled into the Bastion line of fire. And then you just keep spamming the shield over and over again until they die, or you get ultimates, like you can get the Dragon and Bob, and then you just make something happen with that.
What about then, because Bunker isn't always on, you know, first point defense of 2CP, what about like Pirate Ship? Because I feel like that's a huge thing that catches people out, and people lose games based off the surprise Junkrat, well, the surprise Bastion on the payload pick. You know, you're going into overtime on Havana with a minute left, the attacking team puts a Bastion on the point and they take the next two like areas. Like, how would you try and beat that? Similar sort of thing? Would just try and go like Pharah, Ashe, Hanzo, all those like different hero options you could take. Grab a Mercy damage booster and break as much shields as possible.
Well, the biggest weakness of Pirate Ship is that you're stuck on the payload. So what I would do is I would just go on a flank. Like even Hanzo alone can break down a Pirate Ship, because like if you shoot from behind, unless they're running like super cheese with Orisa Reinhardt so that the Bastion is completely walled in, then there's nothing they can do. But if they're running double shields like that, then you can just, like they're gonna be lacking damage. So then you can just spam the shield, kinda.
What's the worst thing you can do in that situation?
Just try to go head on and try to win a shield battle. Because you can't really win a shield battle against the Bastion unless you have your own Bastion.
Okay. Let's say, like in a month's time, where do you think the meta is going to be? What heroes do you think are going to be really popular? What ones do you think are going to be less than popular? And I guess finally, where's Hanzo going to be in all of that?
Unless Goats comes back, it's just going to be double sniper. Because people are finally starting to realize just how good it is to be able to kill someone with one hit.
It was strong like a year ago, wasn't it? Double sniper. It was just as strong as it is now.
Yeah, of course, but it's more about like now people are finally starting to accept that it's like double sniper is like you should just run it, and it's like the best possible choice. And it's also like people are getting better and better at the game, especially with Widow. Like there's so many new Widow players popping up in high ranks that are just like, they've gotten to the level where it's just like ridiculous how good they are, like how much value they can get. Like they create this effect that you just won't even peek a corner. Like you won't even try because you know that you're probably just gonna die immediately.
Let's face it, like in GM, you have these players that can do amazing stuff, as you pointed out. What about in the lower tiers then? Do you still think then that double sniper is going to become a problem, or?
The thing about it's like, in lower tiers, it's not just the Widowmaker and Hanzo that are worse. Like in lower tiers, it's gonna be way easier to hit targets, even if they're like moving. Because the way that people move in lower ranks is just like they most of the time just run in a straight line, especially when you go into plat and below.
Yeah, because I feel like that's the biggest thing that people might say in these situations, like speaking to a top 500 player is, oh, you know, they're only talking about the 1%, you know, double sniper's not going to be a problem for me, much like GOATs wasn't a problem for me in plat over the last year or so.
Yeah, I'd say that it's like Widow would have that effect to a greater extent where it's like not as viable in long ranks, since it's like Widow, in my opinion, is more situational than Hanzo as well, because it's like you can't really fight anyone in short range. You always have to stay away from the fight. And like the way that Widow is played in high ranks, for example, is that like you just hold an angle, and then when they peek, you hit those shots. Like you always just get that guaranteed hit shots. But like in low ranks, your aim is not gonna be that good, so you have to like kinda play more in the open and just try to constantly get shots out to like pray that you get enough kills with Widow per fight. But with Hanzo, like Hanzo is more like McCree in the sense that like you can just spam and you create pressure that way and get picks and deal damage in general.
We've spoken a lot about the meta, you know, double sniper being very powerful and all that jazz, and how to sort of change it. Where can people see more of you going into like a brand new meta, and maybe into Rollock too? No doubt this competition will be really strong, so where can people see more of you?
Well, you can find me up to 10 hours every single day on twitch.tv/Arrge, except on Wednesdays, and I also make YouTube videos, mostly guides these days, on youtube.com/Arrge.
And that's it for this time. Thank you very much for watching. You can check out all of Arrge's details below, like we said. Do definitely check him out. Let us know what you thought of the video in the comments below. And until next time, take care. We'll see you then.